to our chef. And our chef today is Amber Balshaw with Preferred Sonoma Caterers. And you've had your business for 17 years, and she was just telling me earlier, it was Smackdown?
We're smack downtown Petaluma.
Okay.
We've been on Kentucky Street for the last 12 years and just moved into our new location 3 months ago.
Right, don't you? We refer to it as a retro warehouse. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Amber. She was actually born here in Petaluma and started her career as an apprentice in Innsbruck, Austria. Then graduated first in her class from the Culinary Institute of America in New York, the country's leading cooking school. And while she was a pastry chef at West Point Military Academy and later at the
Ojai Valley Inn
and Country Club, she had the honor to cook for 5 past U.S. presidents. Amber is regularly involved in community projects, having founded Petaluma's Art and Garden Festival, recently hosted a wonderful benefit for PEP housing, and for more information, she does have her website and a blog, and you can get that information in the Chef Demo cookbook along with all the other chefs, and she's also got her recipe here, so please join me in welcoming Amber.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming in today, but I don't think it was too hard to have to come in from the heat.
Yeah.
So today I've chosen to do a very classical dish for you. It's a lemon souffle. I planned this recipe when Patty called me back in March, and oh, for Mother's Day, a lemon souffle was wonderful, and I made it for my mother-in-law, and she was delighted. I said, oh, I've got to make it for the cooking demo. Not really thinking that it could be 100 degrees today. But lemon is still at least very nice and refreshing, and I think everyone will enjoy it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. People think souffles are a very difficult process, but really the idea is it's 2 separate processes. The first I'm going to do is I am going to make a basic pudding base. For this one I'm making a lemon pudding. It also really works well as a lemon pie filling or a lemon tart filling. You could also over the summer fill it into your angel food cake cups or cream puffs or anything you like that way. And then we're going to fold into it whipped egg whites. So neither one of these of themselves are difficult, but everybody tends to get a little bit nervous about making them, and hopefully I will take away all of that today and you'll be able to enjoy it. The first step in the recipe is I'm going to prepare some ceramic ramekins for you. These happen to be, I believe, a 6-ounce size. This is a very large single souffle. When doing something which you'll taste as tart as this lemon is, I might recommend going more towards a 4-ounce size. And it's very easy. You just want to get a can of aerosol spray. This one's Spectrum. It's a local company. I also will use Pam when I'm at home. And we're just going to give the entire inside a quick spray. You want to make sure to get the rim covered well. When you're using a ceramic product, you need the sugar on the sides so that the souffle can almost grasp up the sides to grow and come up. If you kept it smooth, it would start to fall in on itself and collapse. To do this, I've just got myself same sugar I'm using for everything else. I'm going to take it, if you notice, you don't have to fill it completely, but I'm just going to put it on its side and roll it. The sugar comes right back into my container, and I've got a nicely covered sugar ramekin for the souffle to hold to. This is the kind of thing, especially if you're doing a dinner party, you can do these first thing in the morning. Just put a nice towel over them so nothing gets to them, but they will hold up just fine. This does not have to be done at the last second in your preparation. For the lemon curd portion of the recipe, I'm going to start with a heavy bottom stock pot. When anybody who has been cooking with eggs often, you know that eggs can easily scald in a thinner pot, so I want to make sure to use a heavier bottom. I've already pre-measured my 1 cup of sugar, but you know what? Always better to measure twice, isn't it? So I'm going to double check it. 1. Yep, I got it right. We do a lot of different events out of the commercial kitchen, and though I think I'm making a recipe, and especially in baking, I can easily get distracted by this event going that way or staff coming through and asking me questions. And baking to me as a pastry chef is still a science, and you need to make sure you have your measurements correct. To this, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour. And the point for this being is this will give you just a little bit more sturdiness to your curd. If you were making like a French lemon curd, you wouldn't use the flour, but I think it adds a nice stability to this recipe. And if you notice, I'm whisking it well into the flour, into the sugar. That almost sifts them together and will cause me not to get lumps. To this, I'm going to add 4 eggs. All of the eggs I have today are out at room temperature. For the lemon curd, it doesn't make that big a difference. Oh, there's my little piece of eggshell in there. But it will be of assistance later in whipping my egg whites. Most people don't realize that egg whites actually whip better when warm. When you're whipping heavy cream, you want it to be ice, ice, ice cold for your best volume. But eggs actually like to be on the slightly warmer side. So as you can see, I've blended this very well together. It is important to blend it well so that all the proteins are broken up. And we're going to take this directly over to the stove. I checked it earlier, we lit well, there we go. And I'm going to actually stay and watch and stir this constantly so that it does not scald on me. Some of the interesting things I brought along today, we did a little looking at the catering for the last year. As she said, we've been in business for 17 years in Petaluma. Our last location was 12 years, and before that I was out of a rental kitchen. Our new kitchen is about 40% larger in the 5,000 square foot area. We've gotten a lot of questions as to why we moved out of our cute little downtown location. And if you heard earlier, we were able to purchase the building, which is, wonderful to get to make and create and have my own commercial kitchen. It's kind of like a dream come true. We also needed the capacity. In downtown, we were out of electricity. And if you want to imagine going home on Friday night with 2 weddings in the walk-in, not knowing if you're going to have a brownout, it was a great stress reliever to know that we now have this great location. So we did a quick rundown, and last year it appears that we did about 73,000 people fed. And that totals down to about 9,000 forks, 42,000 pieces of polished glassware. We did about 28,000 staff hours and about 6,000 actually hours of staff on site. So when we are doing a catered event, we often come out with your bartenders, your servers, and your chefs. So if you take a look at that, that's almost 4 times as many hours to do the prep and everything for the event as it is to do the event itself. We did, 9,000 tablecloths. I have a great rental company. I don't iron. We also, the big one, and this was especially true yesterday, we had 2 weddings yesterday, and if everybody felt the heat, you can imagine what it was like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We moved 5,000 wooden folding chairs. And after yesterday's afternoon, I think I personally felt every single one of them. And the other one that he came up with is we figured that we prepared somewhere in the area of 150,000 pieces of little finger hors d'oeuvres for different events. So, as you see, I'm staying right on top of this lemon curd, stirring it constantly. Momentarily, it will start to get a few little boil bubbles on it. I really want to bring it up to a complete full boil. Since I chose to use the flour as my stabilizing starch in it, many people who have cooked with flour before knows it needs a little bit more cooking time or else you can taste a little raw in it. Where if you used cornstarch, it would cook almost instantly. Another aspect of cornstarch versus flour is that